So I'm going to do this one because I get a lot of you guys in my mailbox about deliverance ministry. Okay. And deliverance ministry can be very tricky. And I'm kind of going to combine this teaching into like two parts because I'm going to make it as a just generalized reference to all the people that are emailing me in my mailbox, because I'm really big on voice text and counseling, and I will counsel you. I'll read the emails. I got tons of emails coming in from Touching the Afterlife and other testimonies that I've done. But if you don't have Facebook, and I don't really like phones to talk on that much, and I can't counsel you, I'm making this video for people that are coming out of sin or coming from Touching the Afterlife. A lot of you are in my mailbox. You want to know if I do deliverance. I do not do deliverance over the phone. I think it's a very personal thing. I can recommend people that can do deliverance over the phone. That's their thing. I think it needs to be done with people. Okay, it's a private thing. But I generally want to, tell people to kind of stay away from deliverance. If you need deliverance, go and look up somebody in your town. It's big now. It's everywhere. You should be able to find a church within 30 or 40 miles that does it. But all deliverance ministers usually get their information from a handful of sources. I always recommend Derek Prince, They Shall Expel Demons, Win Worley, Pigs in the Parlor by, I think it's Fred Hammond. Most of your major Isaiah Saldivars and the people that you're watching right now got a lot of their information from those manuals. Okay. Now the problem is a lot of people get what they call medical student syndrome, meaning when you're studying these things and you're trying to figure out what demons you got, you go crazy, you start thinking everything's a demon. And this happens in a lot of ministries, and it's a plot of the devil, because what happens is they don't have balanced deliverance. And before you know it, the woman with the lipstick on is a Jezebel. The guy that back talks an Ahab. This brother over here has got a lust spirit. This brother over here. So everybody's looking at spirits everywhere, and you're basically, the power of perception is when you don't have any balance, then everything becomes a demon. Then under every cough and sniffle, every brother and sister, you're looking at your sister and brother as a demon, and this is a demon. And before you know it, that perception turns into everything's a demon. So basically you empower what your perception is. I know this is hard to explain, the occult and all that is big into this, manifesting. The Bible tells you it is so a man thinketh, so is he. So these are biblical, things that the enemy will use. So if you're obsessed with demons all day and you have no balance and you're going to see demons everywhere you go, then your life's is going to reflect that. With that being said, I tell people to, be balanced with it. If you absolutely need deliverance, go get it. But most of you guys need counseling. Most of you guys need a good therapist, and most of you guys need to renew your mind. I've sat and watched people get demons casted out of them week after week after week after week, and they did not renew their mind. They're still the same way 10 years later. So with that being said, I'm going to give just basic advice that I give to every person that contacts me. Every person that contacts me believes that they're the worst person in the world, that they've sinned too much to be saved. It's usually sexual sin or pornography. Okay, I get the same emails, and I listen to all of them, and I'm just saying, I'm giving this video so you can watch this, and my prodigals teaching, and my blasphemy of the Holy Ghost teaching, because that's another one that you guys are really into. The facts are, I'm going to give very basic advice. You got into this, it took time for you to sear your conscience. It took time for you to get a porn addiction. It's going to take time to unsear your conscience. I recommend certain things. I recommend everybody start a regimen of fasting, even if it's 1 day a week, skipping 1 or 2 meals here or there, and build yourself up, because it helps you deny the flesh. Okay. Another thing that I always recommend is basically, if you're a person, I'm not religious Pharisee. I know some of you gonna smoke weed, and some of you gonna drink too much. I tell people, if you're having any kind of conviction on these things, because anything in excess, whatever you're doing, whatever sin, take it to God. Even if you are smoking weed, take the weed to God and say, God, please help me with this. Show me this. God speaks in many ways. Sometimes he'll send a vision. Sometimes he'll send a dream. Sometimes he'll send, a synchronicity. He'll speak through a brother. He'll speak through the Bible. I'm not going to give you a religious way on how God speaks, but, take it to him. I tell people all the time, if you're out there, I'm just going to be practical. You need to cut all sin out of your life. But if some people are so engulfed in pornography, drunkenness, take it one thing at a time. If you're drinking 20 beers, try to drink 2. Okay. If you are struggling with pornography, obviously, try to, get a blocker in the natural, give your computer to somebody, go use the library to cut down your use until you can, further, because I struggled with it for 10 years before I got set free. I try to tell people to be that encouragement, that my testimony is to show you that the worst of the worst, even before salvation and after, that God's listening to you. And like I said, my email mailbox is open. You can email me. I'm on Facebook, but I'm just not going to, unless I have a voice text or counsel. It's just like, this is going to be the videos that I'm gonna tell you these things on over the phone anyway. Okay. I always tell people, go help the poor. Go actively do something for God. Don't just sit in the house. Most of you guys that contact me, you're sitting in your house all day. You're alone. The devil loves it when you're alone. He loves to isolate you. He likes to just pound you with thoughts all day. So you'll just continue in sin. Okay? So that, is basic advice. I always tell people, get plugged into a local church. You don't have to go to church, but I'm saying it's good to be around people. You do not need to be isolated. I mean, I can't stress this enough. And I know it's hard for a lot of you guys. I feel for you. Like I said, I'm here for you. But, another thing that's really, really important is to have hope. If my testimony helps you, praise God. But the number one thing the devil wants is for you to lose hope. So you'll just stay in the same cycle of sin. Just remember, in the wilderness, it takes time. God sometimes has to purge you, has to prune you, has to get some of those old ways about. Some of you were molested, and that's why you do the things you do. Some of you had really bad fathers and militaristic fathers. I had a father like that you're having problems having intimacy with God.